Future Print virtual summit session about interior decoration. My name is Roland Biemans and I will be your host for the next hour. I will be joined by industry veterans Mark Greendoers, Frank Zeeman and Paul Willems. In this session, we will look into the various application fields and product requirements and market segments in interior decoration. Mark will look at it from the perspective of incompatibility. Paul will go into detail about the various markets, and Frank will show how digital technology is adding opportunity to an existing industry. As our printing industry is maturing and embracing digital workflows, there are numerous options and challenges we address. For those that are new to this side of the industry, we have a positive message. With today's technology, we can offer exciting and new interior decoration options. For those that have already been in this industry for some time, it is a nice update on where companies such as Agfa, Roland DG and Erfurt stand at the moment. I'm confident that the next hour will show you how our industry is evolving and why we believe we have a bright future ahead of us. So thanks for joining and let's go. So with me now is Mark Greendoers. Mark, welcome.
Thank you, Roland. Welcome too. It's good to be here today.
Yeah, so we've known each other for quite some time. We've been in this industry for quite some time. I'd like to ask you to first do an introduction of yourself and where you come from.
So I'm Mark Greendoers. I'm business manager for Agfa for Industrial Inks. I work for Agfa a long time already, multiple jobs, started in R&D. But since 2007, we started here a business where we develop inks specific to deliver to OEMs of inkjet print systems, both multi-pass, single-pass UV at start, but also with a big focus on water-based inks today. So I connect basically the industries, the printer builders, and Agfa for Ink in many applications, but interior decoration is a very important one.
Okay, so today's session is all about interior decoration. Agfa has been a player in the industry for quite some time. How did Agfa end up in interior decoration specifically?
Well, when you do this job, you try to analyze the markets and the technologies and the partners, etc., which are ready to take inkjet. Because interior decoration, and we see it from a view of production printing, there you need the reliability. So inkjet needed to be ready to go for it. We have been studying the applications because you have to know the production processes. The inkjet print part needs to fit with the pre and post processes. Preferably you do not change any of the other processes. Only the inkjet traditional print is replaced by inkjet. That's the key element where we have been focusing on. We have found the partners, we have found the printer builders, we've studied the applications, and that together has resulted in solutions.
Right, so today you're going to give us a presentation and an explanation of, I believe, 2 application examples. Is there anything before we dive in that you would like to explain to the audience, or would we just start with the presentation right now?
I would only say that please be aware that I'm talking with my hat of ink on. So I will discuss this only in a part view, looking to explain to you why the ink is important. This is, of course, only one aspect.
Okay, very understood. So let's dive into your presentation. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Roland. Okay, today I want to present to you 2 cases which are representative for production printing in interior decoration. One is an example where we use water-based inks. So this is the world of laminate, which is very popular for flooring. Traditionally, the print technique is gravure printing, based on the engraved cylinders, which is, of course, a high investment each gravure cylinder is specific for the design, for each of the color of the design, and has to be used for repeat jobs. In the old days, these were very high run lengths. Today, it is shifting to inkjet for the market demand. Because inkjet, you don't have the grinders, you have a fast changeover time, you can vary your designs very easily up to the market trends, and you can print from a very short run length to a very long run length. Of course, therefore, you need an inkjet solution where the ink is key for the performance. Because you print on Décor paper, the ink has to be very controlled in the way it wets the paper, the way the color strength is obtained. And last but not least, the choice of the pigments is the key element, because you need low metabolism, you need consistency of colors, you need to produce wood grain design colors, so everything is in the pigment. It's exactly the know-how of Agfa is here in use. So we go for the production run lengths in the laminate application with a water-based ink on Décor paper. The second example is quite different, but in the same sector, because we're talking about edge bands for furniture, doors, etc., panels, where this typically today is a world also of gravure printing, but quite different process as you see in the chart. Typically, the plastic is produced in-house from granulates. It's typically colored in bulk. So you have a base color of the edge band. Then normally you print with gravure on it, and you have a finishing by varnish and embossing. Why should you go for inkjet in this case? Inkjet is very well suited for this application because the run lengths are relatively short, the production run lengths. The designs, every year there are hundreds of new designs, so it's ideal to go in this market with inkjet because with process colors, in this case we have 6 colors, on the one hand to the wood grain design, on the second hand to do marble, granite, a monocolor. You can do then a full white color gamut through the 6 colors, carefully selecting which 4 of them you use. Again, low metabolism, fantastic single pass jetting reliability. We have done testing to 6 hours without any failing nozzle. IKEA compliance, because that is setting here the strict guidelines in this market. No color shift, etc. Batch to batch consistency. So typically a field where a specialist UV inkjet ink supplier can do all his technology in such an inkset and be fitting to the process and fit to the market trends. So it is an ideal example where you need UV ink for adhesion, etc.
If I may ask, why now? What has been now different, technology-wise or application-wise, that this push towards digital printing emerges?
Yeah, 2 things. First of all, consistency. People need to trust inkjet. Everybody can make one good print sample. That's not so difficult. Could take you some time. Here, the people want to have the same print, by the way, in repeat jobs, Monday morning, Friday afternoon, left to right of the print, start to end. It's all about the consistency of the inkjet print result. So we have proven, not only Agfa, the industry has proven that it is possible today with inkjet, and that has convinced those brand owners and the producers that it's the right moment to invest in inkjet. Secondly, economic picture. Of course, your total process cost, not only the ink, but ink is an important part, needs to fit with the requirements, what people are willing to pay for the end product. And by doing these production run lengths and by the low ink coverage delivered by our efficient pigment dispersion technology, we have a good economical situation for both examples which I explained, but in fact for many more.
You just said it has to fit requirements. Are there any specific application requirements that you would be looking at?
Yeah, so each time we try to understand fully the specific application and learn all about the requirements of, for instance, scratch resistance, which color gamut, all the requirements from the end user perspective or the brand unit perspective. Secondly, of course, the print fit, the fit with the printer. But the key elements, as you ask, are all about the application. Sometimes you can group some applications. The ink, UV ink I explained for the edge band, is also possible to use that for base plates, panels, automotive interior decoration, a caravan inside, where you think it's all wood, but in fact it can be laminate and it can be edge band. So such applications sometimes you can take together because they have more or less the same needs.
Yeah, understood. If you look at the entire production flow, you have the ink, which of course for you is very important. You have your pre-treatments and your post-treatments. Why is the ink so important, and why would people then choose the Agfa offering in this?
Yeah, so the ink is a key element because you can have a perfect pre-treatment or a perfect primer, but then your ink has no color strength or it does not wet so that you cannot print a full patch, that you have pinholes, that you have not full coverage of a full patch. That is an element of a result. In decoration, you often have no pictures, you have designs. So it's a key element that the one who designed the design recognizes his printed design, that it's really what he wanted from the effect in the image. And last but not least, the physical properties of the end result. Sometimes, like in laminate, of course, you have protective overcoats which help a lot. But still the ink as such needs then the light fastness. So the careful selection of the pigments that are really light fast. So it's all that together that is the solution. So you can have a perfect inkjet printer, but if your ink has no open head time in that perfect print head, you have no solution, or you have no reliable solution that you have to clean too much. Part is all in the easiness of use. How much time do you have to stop to print? Our UV ink for edge band, you can do one cleaning step in the morning and one in the end of the last shift of the day, and that's it. Nothing in between, no maintenance needed, because it is intrinsically present in UV ink. So that element, the ease of use, the low maintenance, and especially also the consistency batch to batch, that are key elements for Agfa inks in this world of interior decoration.
Yeah. So after this session, what would you say is the key takeaway for the audience after listening to you? What is it that they have to bring home, you think, about Agfa and about interior decoration?
I would say that look, I explained 2 examples, but think about your own project. Look to what is happening in inkjet for industrial applications, especially interior decoration. We show that it's possible. There are many more projects which can work. And it's a key element to choose your ink partner early in the stage of the R&D. That's my key message. Agfa is used to work with partners, both end users, printer builders, suppliers, pre-treatments, primers, the whole part of the solution. We are open for all that partnership, because that's typically the solution today is not invented or produced by one company, is the result of a full partnership.
Yeah, I think it's true if you look at the total integration today, that there's so many partners in a project, and I think it's really important to consider working with partners that have been in this industry for such a long time and really have a track record in it. So without really pushing Agfa, I think that at least you as a company, but also you as a person, can be reached for those types of questions.
Exactly. That's my role.
Yeah, so for now, I would like to thank you for your presentation, for your explanation. If we find the time, we will have a wrap-up at the end of the session. If that's not happening because of time constraints, people can reach you without any problem. Should they go to a certain place, website link, or can contact you directly?
Oh, I think I'm a lot of conferences, and of course we have a very good website with very good web pages with brochures that are not commercial, that explain technology. And we have a form on our website where it's easily to contact Agfa, and in fact, those contacts end up in my mailbox.
Okay, right. Well, thank you for now. I hope to see you later, and I also hope to see you again in a live environment without all the COVID restrictions.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Roland.
So with me now is Frank Zeeman. He's at Erfurt Juicy Walls. They are big in interior decoration. Welcome, Frank. Nice to have you.
Thank you for the invitation, and I'm glad to be here with you guys to show all the interior things with us.
Okay. So before we dive into your presentation, maybe you would like us to tell more about yourself and about your company?
Okay. I'm about now, let's say 10-12 years in the interior decoration story. So I began together with Nation and did a few things together with them. And then from a cooperation with Erfurt, I jumped over to the company. And still, we are, of course, here in the interior decoration world. And my core education is I'm business administration and business development, and it's my role here as well. So I'm the head of marketing of the Erfurt Group as well. And so the interior decoration together with Juicy Walls is sometimes a hobby, sometimes a really nice growing market to be served. And I really enjoy this.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine, because if I look at your background in this chat, in this presentation session, I see that you have beautiful walls, and I imagine you can only be happy if you can create stuff like that.
Yeah, that's right. And really, everybody is excited about the possibilities in the interior decoration world coming to our printing and digital things. So we are coming from the classical painters business, but everything what we are doing in this field is very exciting and growing and interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I think that the audience like to know exactly what you're doing. So let's dive into your presentation.
Yes, I will. Okay. I really want to show you the way we got in the past with the story digital printing, and I will lead into the core of digital printing in respect of brand and brand awareness, because we had the most business with these stories. And I give you a short introduction, and then you will know what I mean. Erfurt & Sons is since around about 200 years now leader in the paintable wallpaper industry, and our best-selling product and the best known all over the world is the wood chip, and it's called Raufaser in German. And this is one of our production facilities, and in front is the owner family. And proud to present one of our last developments in the machinery with the wallpaper, big jumbo roll in the back. And we have a lot of distribution things, and we have a big warehouse where we serve the whole world from Germany. And what we had in the past, and this is one of our big strengths, is that we in the 60s we developed our company as a brand. And if you now ask in Germany whether they know the brands in wallpaper industry, around about 80-90% knowing our brand, and we do it with sports sponsorings and so on. Really huge awareness. Why digital printable wallpaper? Well, because we see is within all the categories, the home improvement story is growing rapidly. This is a slight old figure, but it's still growing and growing. And where we see out of there, we see even if we are talking about only one feature wall, decorating with digital print wallpaper is around about 350 million square meters only in Germany, and you can imagine what worldwide could be a huge potential with all this printable stuff. While digital in general is growing rapidly, we have all the technology is faster and faster, and we have no problems at all now with all the storages out of, and the wireless LAN is helping, and even the printers are faster, getting faster and faster. Is only one model, so all the technology is helping, and that gives us the chance to give new options for the customers outside to have really fancy and one and unique decorations for the rooms, and even funny things are possible. Well, all the things outside lead us to the story that we even have to serve the digital printer industry. And therefore, we started 10 years ago to produce and sell worldwide printable wallpapers, boxed, and serving it through the global distribution for the print service providers. We have a few different ones, with coating, without coating, and the green one is our newest development. Is made of 100% recycled paper, so it's as well a green story as well, and the lowest four are embossed versions. So we have flat and embossed, so everything is possible with all the materials there, and then you can have as well the possibility to serve all the end consumers' wishes. Well, we have a few accessories as well, like the fitting glue and the tools. And now I will switch over to a story where we see a huge potential because of serving all the brands outside and serving the brand story, meaning that you have to brand awareness with the wall outside. And it is very easy. Like you see in this surrounding, you can have at the left side, you see the juicy walls on a horse. But you can imagine that this is as well a big area for advertisements for breweries or other companies. So it's so easy because you can have it everywhere where a free wall is, and is a big brand place where you can play your brand, and you have the possibility as well in a hotel area. You can have it, as you see here, is a huge hotel group in Hamburg. They do all the designs by themselves, and have every room has a different design, and it's so interesting that all the customers say, well, I'd like to be in this hotel room next, and really amazing. Often is the application to have the brand story at the entrance area. Like here is a map of the city and where all the locations are. And this is as well a big field where we sell a lot of those things. Or you have the core brand story in the rooms, what you have had the past only in leaflets, and this is as well a big market area. Coming to the art of being printed on wallpapers, there are lots of museums seeing more and more possibilities, not only to hang ready printed pictures somewhere, but even use the wall as well to have a big impression for the story of the artists. We as well here in our company use it in the entrance area to have all the products and the brand maps, as well a nice entrance for everybody's coming the first time in our company. And well, how does it work? Very easy even for the end consumer. Is it easy? But of course, for everybody who's doing business with it, you only have to measure the Décor area, scale it, put it in our own programmed configurator, and at the end you say, okay, just print, and that's it. And so you have the wall as brand ambassador. Well, that was my short presentation, and we finished up with this commercial spot, and you saw as well the river Wupper. It's a very green area where our company is, and at the end you see our company, and for us it's very important that all the story in interior decoration is a green story. So no one wants to pollute somebody, and we have really big efforts to stay in this green mode, and you are invited to join us with our products.
Okay. Well, thank you for that portion of the presentation. I thought it was very nice to see all these different examples of how it's being applied. So it means that you provide business to consumer solutions. So it's not just business to business, right?
Yes, both. So we are serving a few channels to complete the story of interior decoration. One is, as I said, we developed and produce wallpaper for the print service providers so that they can do the business with their B2B and B2C markets. And the other ones we serve as well, where we do the prints for the brands or even for big retailers if they have to decorate or redecorate their facilities.
Yeah. What I think is very nice about what you do is that it's both as pure interior decoration in the traditional sense, but it also provides the sort of overlap with marketing efforts. So you could use it in both areas, which makes it quite easy to go to. And if you do it in your home, you could also do it in your restaurant, in your hotel. You could even do it in your malls to do advertising.
Right. Yeah. And even for us as a company, is the story helps us making our core brand Erfurt stronger. Yeah, because we have all the possibilities with digital printing, mass customization, and so on, and this worldwide, and this is really huge for us to grow in this market.
Right. So one last question: are you limiting yourself to a certain region? So is it Germany, the German-speaking countries? Is it the whole of Europe? Is it the entire world that you're trying to service?
Well, usually we see where the distribution chains are. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to ship a very simple product to a long distance. But we, in general, we serve worldwide, even with our paintable things. And of course, what helps is we have existing distribution chains in all of the worldwide regions.
Right.
But sometimes, well, and in digital printing in special, it's better to have a partner where the consumer is located as well.
Yeah. So at the end of this session, if time permits, we do a panel wrap-up. So I would then see you again. If that is not possible due to time constraints, is there something that you want the audience to know, to understand, or to take away from your presentation?
Well, I now deal 10, 12 years with this story, and often it's limited by not seeing the really opportunities outside. And so my invitation for everybody in the audience, use LinkedIn or Xing and contact me directly to have a small chat if you have an opportunity in mind, or maybe questions to market things. Then it's really easy to see where the chances are outside. So invited to contact me personally.
Okay. Well, then I'd like to thank you for the nice examples, for the presentations, and then I hope to see you again soon.
Yes, thanks you.
So now joining me is Paul Willems of Roland DG. Welcome, Paul. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you, Roland.
So we also know each other for quite some time in this industry, but for the audience that may not know you, can you do a little introduction about yourself and the company that you work for?
With pleasure. Well, my name is Paul Willems, and I'm working at Roland DG within the EMEA organization, and I'm responsible for the product management and business development team. That basically entails all of our go-to-market processes for our core products, but also looking at new markets and new applications in order to stimulate innovation within Roland, but also discover new business opportunities for the company. And the Décor market is obviously one of those areas that we are looking at very closely.
Yeah, because most people in the industry know you from a wide range of application-specific machines. This session is about interior decoration. I understood that you now also have a machine that is tailored to that end. But before we touch the subject of very specific machines or media or ink combinations, I would like to know how Roland came into the decoration market.
Sure. Well, we obviously looked at the Décor market from a signing graphics lens, which is the background of the company. We are very strong in the signing graphics market, and we've been looking at the dynamics and the developments in this industry. And for us, we first of all started by defining the market in its broadest possible way. What is the Décor market and what does it mean for us? Is basically all the elements you can think of that actually make up the atmosphere and the look and feel in a space. And whether that is in a home or whether that's in a corporate environment or in a public building or in a commercial space, all of those elements are interesting for us to look at. And that was for us really the focus of starting our work looking at the Décor market. And we've seen an enormous development and lots of innovation thanks to digital printing technology, and more people adopting wide format printers and platforms in order to achieve some results. And that's when we decided to take a closer look at this market.
Okay. We also spoke earlier on with Mark at Agfa. He's explained more on the side of the industrial level. So really broad expectations of difficult or challenging integrations. Roland has taken a slightly different path because you come from the sign and display world. You have a market relevance, I would believe. If I look at your portfolio, then it also means that what you deliver is now going beyond merely sign and display, right?
Correct. What we've seen is that digital print technology has been widely embraced in this market space, and that standard sign products have been used, but we've also seen that they have some specific limitations in the end. They were never designed to do what people want to do in the decor space. And that's why we decided to kind of leverage our technology platforms, but actually go and develop a bespoke and unique product targeted at the applications within the decor market. And that's what has driven for us the development initiative. And we looked at what are the key requirements that people are looking for, not as a sign maker, but as a decor application. And we identified 5 key areas or market requirements that we felt were really key for this business. Well, first of all, we looked at the media compatibility. Any product, you need to have a wide media compatibility because there's a lot of different materials being used. Secondly, and one of the very important ones, is making sure that the product is compliant with all the health and safety and regulation standards that apply in this market, and very different from the classical sign market. Furthermore, we looked at the ease of use and the facility to the safety to how to work with these materials, because they're not just about printing roll to roll, but in the end, it has to be transported and it has to be installed, placed into a room. So the end-to-end process was really key for us to look at. And as a fourth one, we looked at the durability of the application, because some of these materials has to last a long time. So scratch resistancy, light fastness are key components. And finally, everybody is looking at productivity and cost of operations. So we had to bring all of those 5 elements together in order to drive a product that would be specifically designed.
Yeah. So if you say market, then I would assume you have key consumers and key stakeholders in mind.
Absolutely. And again, as we made a very broad definition of the market, we also try to identify what are the key consumers of the decor spaces. And we have identified from our side 4 main segments that we believe are really relevant, not just for the market, but also for our customers, our print service providers, which we feel can reach this market. And those 4 markets include obviously the home decoration market, which means consumers in households, apartments, and building projects, for example, but also the commercial space. What we mean by commercial space is the retail environment, shopping malls, but also can be restaurants, hotels, museums, of the like. Furthermore, we are looking at public and public institutions that would include schools, universities, public and government buildings, these types of environments. And lastly, the industry or corporate world, which then means the office environment, some showroom environments and the like. Very different environments, but looking at very similar applications. And we see that all of these require a specific approach.
Okay, yeah. So you've had some examples, and I believe I've seen some materials coming from your side. Is there something that you would like to show during this session, presentation-wise?
Well, you meaning the applications that we have in mind?
Yes.
Sure, we can bring those up on the screen if you have that. Is that we see that, of course, top of mind is wall coverings and floor covering. That's what people first think of when you talk about decoration. However, there's a lot more that is populating a space. And we feel that all of those elements are relevant for us. And so that can go beyond the classical wall covering, but also can go into furniture, into accessories like pillows or light shades, but also sunblinds that are often used, and even all the way to acoustic elements that are being placed in spaces which were very often hidden, that are now becoming more to the forefront and becoming objects, design objects, but also have a specific function. So all of those applications to us are relevant, and all of these can require different types of medias. One of the applications also to add there would be the type of soft signage and backlit type environments that even in homes today are used to create a different atmosphere during the day as in the evening. So these are soft materials, textile materials, paper-based materials. So that whole range for us are all attractive applications that see an increasing demand.
Then another aspect is that I believe that in this industry there's a certain distance between production and design. And in particular, when you talk about interior decoration, you often see that there's a lot of talk about making something so beautiful, but then that there is this disconnect between design and production. Is that something that you see and that you try to solve?
Well, the aspect of the design part is really interesting. One of the observations that we have made is that traditionally designers basically had to work with available materials. It was a static collection of materials that they could work with and create an atmosphere by selecting and putting them together. Here we see with the digital technology in Décor is that we can turn that paradigm basically upside down, and the designers today have a near complete freedom of how they want to design a space. Which leads a little bit to your question, how does that then come into play with production? But as I said, digital technology really allows designers to have a huge degree of freedom in what kind of unique image content they want to use, what kind of patterns and shapes they want to do, and how they fit that to a specific building or an environment. And this gives also the chance of using different kind of materials for different elements of the decoration. Think of a wall covering, sun blinds, and other decorative elements that all kind of either fit together, or you can create perfect contrasts because you can use digital technology in all of them. So there's really a unique ability for the designers to create bespoke decorations and satisfy some new demands of their customers. But digital technology really allows to turn that around very quickly, allows to do concept proofs. So actually, not only does it give more degrees of freedom, it facilitates how the creation and execution process can go hand in hand and not be discrete, disconnected parts of a process that could lead to frustration. So we feel it really enables a better customer satisfaction and a greater power to the designer.
Right. Then I believe you now have a very specific machine that is fitting into this market. Can you say something about that?
Absolutely. We of course started with the a platform that we use for the sign and display market. But what we have done in order to fit the 5 key criteria, the market demands that we had identified, we have started from scratch and developed a new set of ink types specifically to fit the requirements for this market. And these are what we call our Deco inks. And as the name it says it, these inks have been, as I said, specifically designed for this application. And these inks are water-based resin inks that have very unique characteristics to fulfill all those requirements that we mentioned. They are, if you look at them in detail, they are fast drying with no odor because by the fact that they are water-based inks, right? Quite important. But it also means it makes the materials immediately able to handle them without any scuffing or scratching on them because of the tough surface. And there are no VOCs. So that leads to all of the requirements of air purity, health and safety requirements that are really there. And next to that, we have worked very closely with some of the key media manufacturers in the development process to make sure that our inks fulfill the tough requirements of the decor market. That includes not only air purity, but also elements like light fastness and wash resistance, and put them through the standard processes of the industry in order to validate that the inks perform as they need to.
So then if you look at those applications and if you look at those users, are there any specific requirements that you really have to look at?
Well, I would say that in general, the applications, as I referred to earlier, are very similar in the different segments of customers. Where we see, however, some rather big differences are the specific requirements that these customers may have, and that our customers need to take into account when they are dealing with those marketplaces. Well, first of all, what are people looking for when they do a bespoke decoration? If you look at the homeowners, they mostly want to have an individualization or characterization of their environment. In corporates, it's more about branding and messaging of this space and what it means for their co-workers and their customers. In a commercial space, it's really about messaging and showing and creating an atmosphere. And on the institutions and government buildings, very often there is a functional messaging that is also embedded in them. So the content-wise and the statements that are made with the decoration can differ, and the objectives of how they decorate can differ. But also in terms of durability, there are big differences. If you're a homeowner and you want to spend some significant investment in a specific decoration, you want to have it longevity. It needs to be durable. Whereas in a commercial space, every season you want to change. So it's much shorter in terms of time frame. So it has to be easily removable. Whereas on the other hand, you might want to have it everlasting if possible. And the same goes for the other segments. And then finally, what is really important for our customers to get educated on is what are the different regulatory concerns or the regulations in each of those buildings. And they vary whether they are a shopping mall or a bedroom space or even a school or a kindergarten or a hospital, which at every time the regulatory conditions increase. And they may also play a very important part in the request for proposal process, that you need to be able to demonstrate that you can adhere to the building regulations that are in place. So applications can be the same, but how you deal with the customer, their buying motivations, and the regulatory context can be quite different.
Yeah. So gathering from that, I would say you've ticked all those boxes, because else you wouldn't talk freely about it. So it means safety precautions, also design-wise, what the possibilities are. So it means that you now have a solution that can tailor to these various markets.
Exactly. As I said, we really took a green slate, or say a white sheet of paper, and say, okay, looking at these markets the way we look at it, understanding the requirements, we said we need to develop a set of inks that can really perform across these medias, adhere to the health and safety regulations, provide the longevity, but also be economical if it needs to be short term. It was trying to bring all of those real characteristics in, and we believe that we've succeeded with that. And it then basically means that the Décor printer is more than a standard sign printer to cater for the needs of this market.
Yeah. So it sounds really nice for our industry. The only thing I would like to do at this point, because of time constraints in our session, is to thank you very much for showing us and explaining to us what it can mean to this industry. If time permits, we also do a panel wrap-up at the end. If we don't manage to do that, is there one key takeaway that you would like the audience to bring home to them?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure of being here on the panel. And I would say yes, from our perspective, where we sit, we are quite enthusiastic about the opportunity that digital decor offers to our industry, particularly our print service providers. And we really believe that looking at the different actors that we just talked about, the creatives and the designers, the different suppliers, the different types of consumers, and the regulatory context, our print service providers are uniquely positioned to be at the center of that and bring it all together in order to execute and realize those wonderful designs, but put them into reality. And I think that is an opportunity for us, but especially also for our customers to look forward to.
Yeah. So thanks again. Hope to see you soon. And yeah, thanks.
Many thanks, Roland. Hope to see you soon. Take care. Hope you enjoyed it.
So first of all, I'd like to thank our panelists to be in this session on interior decoration. We have seen the three professionals talk about their part of what they're doing in this industry. We started off this morning with Mark. He spoke about what ECFA is delivering as their ink technology. We then proceeded with Frank that explained how they are handling the digital side of wallpapers. And then we concluded with Paul, and we spoke a lot about the market requirements. So as a wrap-up of our session, I would like to ask Mark, if you looking back at these presentations, if there's anything you would like to add at this moment for the audience that they need to know when they leave our session.
I can only add that it shows the diversity of decoration. It's a huge field of applications where coexistence of analog techniques, inkjet printing for short runs, personalization, specials, limited widths, and you have the full production speed runs at very wide. And laminate is 2 meter plus. So complicated systems to cover that width. So you have everything. You have very small bands, you have wide bands, you have special shapes, curved shapes, we have different substrates, but that should not scare people. It's an opportunity because companies like us and others are developing solutions for specific applications.
Yeah, I think that's correct. I also think that if I turn to Paul, we touched the subject of so many different variations. Is there anything you'd like to add to that portion?
Oh, yes. A little bit building on what Mark said is that also what we have done is to look at what are the media versatilities that are required for these various applications, and how do you then design the proper ink system that is compatible with those medias, and how do you build it into a solution and make it accessible to the market? Because as ECFA has some really interesting industrial applications, they are for those people who understand capital equipment in some cases, whereas we are coming from an area where we have smaller type users, but making a solution for decoration affordable and accessible, but still robust from a technology point of view. And I think indeed it is the media manufacturers, the ink developers, and the equipment manufacturers who develop the technology that enable the use by our customers.
Yeah. Frank, in your case, you've integrated this into an existing business line.
Yes.
How was that for you, if you look at what Paul and Mark are saying?
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, we are around about 200 years old, and we develop always materials for the markets. And in this case, we see the demand of having an ecological, but at the other side, high performance materials for digital printing. And we have to fit all these needs. And especially we develop materials what are designed for the end consumers. So at the very end of the chain, They would like to have living surroundings or working environments, and for that, of course, we need such good systems like the Roland Do or the Aqua together, and then we develop a high range of materials for every application. So very important to combine all these technologies, but at the end we have to fit the market desire of the end consumer.
Yeah. With Paul, we slightly touched on the subject of the designers. So I think that we'd like to conclude, I think at least, that this virtual summit shows at least one thing, is that our industry is one that drives innovation and tries to include design with production. So if anyone of you have something to say about the virtual summit itself, or to the audience, I would like to ask you to say your last words, so to speak.
Well, I hope that these are the last words, but at least the last words of the virtual summit. No, I think it's been great that in these times where it's difficult to meet in person, it's great that we have innovation, not just on products, but also innovation in how we meet and how we address topics. And I think also on the topic of decoration, I think it's been great that we can reach out to each other as industry players, particularly in our case with some of the media manufacturers like Erfurt, to learn about new areas and share experience and technology. And I think that's certainly a way forward, and interesting for the audience to hear how different players are working together to continuously push innovation. And thanks a lot to the guys who put the virtual summit together, to you, Roland, to Marcus and Chesterman. So it's great to be here, and hopefully the audience will enjoy it.
Thank you. So if that sort of concludes our session, I would like to thank you all, also on behalf of the organization, Marcus, Fraser, and the rest of the team. Hopefully we can all meet again soon in a live environment. But for now, I'd really like to thank you for your participation.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Our pleasure.
And with that closing panel conversation, we have come to the end of this session about interior decoration. Feel free to comment on the session, reach out to us for further information, or visit the websites of the individual speakers. Thank you for watching. I hope you will stick around for more valuable content during this FuturePrint Virtual Summit.